Hey, it's healthy.
Cheers.
I have my tea.
That's good. I didn't have time to make tea. I should have made some tea. That sounds really good right now. I've
Mm.
already had a coffee and an energy drink because we're a little later today. So I'm like ding 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 ding. So I'm just like, oh, we'll bring water.
Calm down a little bit. It's
There's some
11.
water.
We
Let's drink
usually
some
go in
water on
at
that.
10 a.m., sometimes 10:30. Today's 11. So today was my turn in my industry to be a little late, but that's what happens. We are always on the pivot,
We
right?
do. We're
And
flexible, we're shifting, we're pivoting.
all the
Yes,
time.
all the time. But I Happy New Year, first of
Happy
all.
New Year.
Can you believe it? 2026. Here we are.
Oh,
Made it through
yes.
2025. All those funny videos. Did you see all those reels and funny videos of I gave myself a present? No, I didn't just have a baby, but I just pushed through whatever the heck 2025 was.
I have not seen that.
Oh, I've
No.
seen so many people doing it. It just seems like a lot of people really went through it last year. Like, really went through it last year. And I honestly think for the last couple of years, when we look at buyers and what they've had to go through, it has not been easy. It's been a challenge for a lot of different reasons the last couple of years.
It has not been the same. I I just feel like everybody keeps going back to the COVID era of 2020 and what it was like. There was pros, there's cons, and especially in our industry, everything moved so quick in 2020
Yeah.
and the rates and selling homes and purchasing homes and how things are going. And now that the market has shifted the last couple of
Mhm.
years, it's still taking a lot of people still by surprise, which
It
shocks me.
is. They're not getting it. I know. I feel like let's just lay the ground rules. You just literally nailed it, the nail right on the head. It's about like 2020 changed everything for that period of time. Like we were coming out of such a huge, let's not even talk about what 2020 was, but we were coming out of a mess. The economy needed a kickstart, all those things, that little perfect storm. So they gave us that. They gave us the rate around 3% or less. A lot of people have less. And so that was not a normal scenario, but they did that. And that created this frenzy of buyers because the smart people knew we're never
It
seeing
did.
this again. Get a house, get a house. So they just wanted to get a house, and sellers knew it, and sellers made out big time on that.
Yes, but the buyers also sacrifice too. They're sacrificing inspections,
They were.
purchasing homes sight
Mhm.
unseen. I mean, I was
Crazy
one of
stuff.
them for our secondary house. I knew the area very well and I knew the homes very well. So mine had a little asterisk, but I had quite a few clients who bought with cash because
Yep.
they liquidated their
Had
401k
to.
or their
Mhm.
parents did. Cash on hand, cash on hand. And they just were all about that. And they didn't do inspections. They didn't walk the property. So you kind of like prayed and crossed your fingers and hope that they like the house and it's still in good working order. Because right now I'm seeing some of the sellers who purchased in 2020,
Mhm.
some of those inspections aren't coming back so well.
Well, yeah, and so I would just like to say with the caveat, I was not one of those agents that ever told someone not to do an inspection. I've never had a buyer buy without doing an inspection. And I wouldn't. I would never recommend it.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. Guys, I'm so sorry. I did not know what just happened. YouTube decided to freeze me and then kick Cece out. So hopefully she will come back and join us. Yep, here she comes back. I don't know what's happening today with YouTube. It seems like lately they've been kicking us out and doing all kind of crazy things, but I'll just jump back in. I could see
Oh,
you and you were live, but you weren't talking, but I was frozen. Anyways, we're back. So let's just go
okay.
with it. So yeah,
Okay.
2020 was a hot mess of people grabbing houses, not doing inspections. I was in the middle of saying how I was not one of those agents that basically told someone not to do an inspection and never would be. It'd be their choice, but I always, it's important. And here we are now. And like Cece said, such a great point. Some of the people who grabbed a house back then aren't either their life has changed or they've decided it doesn't really fit what they want. Some people are really happy with the home they chose because they were coming out of COVID and they knew what they wanted. If it ever happened again, they wanted to change everything, location, setup. I'm working from home now, all the things. But like now we're seeing the market is shifting again. It's, really started. We have the date now. August 1st is when people are saying it really started to switch. And there was other things too. So there was global issues with the politics. We went to a tariff system that freaked people out. They didn't know what was going to happen. Fast forward, we're doing great with it. It did not like increase inflation. So all those things were happening and it really all melded together to be like, should we wait? Should we not buy? And so now we're in a place where buyers have a bit of an upper hand, or at least, I don't know if it's always an upper hand. Sometimes it's an upper
Um,
hand, sometimes it's just equal. And we forgot what equal actually is because we haven't seen it in a long time,
we
right?
haven't.
Right.
Since COVID, it's been
Mm-hmm.
a true buyer's market. So the mind shift has changes, or it was always a seller market. Did I say
It's still a
buyer's
seller's
market?
market. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
still a,
but it
still a
was
seller's market
heavy.
definition.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
still heavy seller market. Now, as you're saying, normalizing, it's becoming equal, like what you're saying, and the
Yep.
mind shift has started, which I
Yes.
actually find quite interesting. Starting in 2026. Right now, I have about 8 people out shopping, got pre-approved over the holiday season. I know a lot of people said that you take the holidays off. I was working on pre-approvals throughout the holiday season.
Oh, this is the time to do it.
Oh, it's so
When everyone
smart.
else is sleeping and partying,
So
like
smart.
I'm doing the opposite. I'm like, I'm filling that pipeline. I'm getting ready because this
Well,
is the year to do it. It's like this is the year to really make your mark. And the
and
people who
even the
slept on it,
buyers,
yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be
it's
sleeping right now. This is not the time. But like, and hello to Ariana and Angel. Sorry if you're even still there. Sorry, because we went in and out a little bit. But yeah, so the first thing really and truly is the buyer mindset
set.
has shifted. It's like they're more educated, and we would like to take a little bit of credit for that. Yes, we would, because that's what we're here for. We do a lot of education. I know we do with our clients. We do on live on YouTube. We do on live on Facebook. We do a lot of content, and we try to talk about this and get the conversation. Education's huge. They're payment conscious. I like this. I like that when they come to me, and I know when they come to you, they're like, you tell them what they can are approved to buy. And sometimes they're like, okay, looking at the payment, but they don't want to go that high. They don't want to put themselves in that financial situation because they have other goals. They want to do the family vacations. They want to, eat out once or twice a week, maybe. All the things that they want to do. And so they're more conscious of their payment. Like, wait a minute, I still want to live my best life, right? And I want to make sure I can do the things. So more careful about that. I know you've seen that too. They're
Yes. Well,
yeah.
and thinking conservatively, for example, um, having that mindset of being responsible with their funds and actually applying it to where it needs to be versus going out in 2020 and
Mhm.
willy-nilly buying a home. It made sense
Right.
due to the rates, but
Right.
as we're talking about real estate today, you being the realtor, me being the mortgage specialist, and us being as a team, we're going to see this moving forward of that organization and what
Mhm.
this looks like, and keeping the education going for our buyers and keeping that mindset going and keeping that balance moving forward.
Exactly. And the other thing I think that we have seen is the Buyers, well, if I see it's almost like the personality has shifted. The buyers are less emotional. They're still emotional, less emotional. The sellers are more emotional. Can I just quickly
They
tell you
are.
about the sellers? I love my sellers, by the way, and this is not a comment about my people, but in general, what I'm hearing, because I talk to agents, we talk to a lot of people. What I'm finding out, what I'm learning is sellers are the emotional ones, and I think it's because with this shift, they're realizing the new normal is, it's not like it was back a couple years ago where they could just sit back, file their nails, and take the offers and, decide which one they want.
Mhm.
And that's given them that, oh, like that's a gut punch. So they have a reaction to that. So we're seeing sellers are a little more emotional and have to be talked to and brought down and, get off the ledge, it's okay. Um, and the buyers seem to be really coming from a place of education, understanding what they want for their financial life, which thank God for that. And just they're more even keeled, most of them, not everybody, but
And it's
that's a good thing.
it's what's nice about being organized with the buyers that I'm working with is
Hmm.
that right now you have the time. Right now they're coming with the
Hmm.
idea of what they really want to pay per month. And we're
Yeah.
doing a lot of our pre-approvals around payment, not
Hmm.
purchase price, which has been
Hmm.
quite interesting the last month. So having that mindset moving forward, like I would really like to stay at this price point per
Yes.
month with the taxes and insurance, the whole kit and caboodle, so they can actually live life. And I know things are being flooded on the internet of travel and living life, but I feel like that's what 2026 is about, is living life for the small
Yes.
moments and not living for the house. Because I feel like so many people back a couple of years ago purchased to live for the house because, hey, we're working from home, we want this. Now I'm seeing people okay with smaller homes.
Right.
They're okay with having that budget set where
Mhm.
this is what it is, and I love having that conversation with them. I love having that openness, and they're more structured when they go out to put offers on homes because they know their threshold of what they don't wanna spend.
Right. And they're thinking of the future more and they're choosing location over, we went through a stage and it's still the truth. They want to walk in and not do much. But I am noticing there's a lot of buyers now who are more about more location based because like you're saying lifestyle living. Like they want walkability or they want to be near a downtown or they want to be in a specific area or they want rural farm, whatever, and they want chickens, whatever it is that they want, like they will sacrifice a bit on, okay, I'm going to have to, make this house mine instead of like I want everything to be just walk in turnkey. They're kind
Yes.
of location focused and lifestyle focused too, which is a trend. And I hope it's not too trendy because I think really and truly I always tell people that's the one thing you can't change. You can't change location. You can't, I mean, we've seen people do it on the road. You see a house that's going down the road and you're like, not good structurally. So you need to just pick that location, and that's what doesn't really change. And you can do what you want with the house. So that's something too. Um, yeah. How much do you have to? Okay, I have a question. How much do you have to pay monthly to be a realtor? That's a great question. I should do a live on that. Depends on what brokerage you're with. If you're just talking about just fees, like desk fees, and it varies. I wouldn't say it's not a lot, but your other fees are going to be where you're paying into your marketing and your things with your clients. Wally Wilson, great question though. If you want to know more about becoming a real estate agent, let me know because I do mentor agents and that's something that I like to do too. I know CC does that with aspiring loan officers.
Oh, absolutely. Education.
Yes,
We just keep going.
education. We love doing
Education.
it. Well, I was a teacher. I just told someone this and they were like, they didn't know that. And I'm like, doesn't it all make sense? And I'm like, I taught fifth grade. Like, that was what I went to school for and what I did when I was younger and before the divorce. And after divorce, that's when I got into real estate and life had to change. But, I love teaching. I love educating and I love seeing the light bulb go on and you help people. That's knowledge really is power. I know that's cliche and that was a commercial, but it's the truth. It's the truth. When you understand your numbers in real estate and you understand your payment and you understand your budget and your finances, that's when I think you can feel good about your purchase and you're not so stressed and nervous the whole time. You know that you just know what you're doing. So speaking of that, let's go into like so some other things that we have. Um we had a lot of like new, not new, but products that were being implemented in, to help buyers, so to combat the higher rate that we had, because obviously the rate had to go up. We had the buy downs, and we had different loan products and different things that are out there. So there was the buy downs that had a moment. I know you have an
Oh, the
opinion and a thought
2-1
on
buy
buy downs.
downs?
I know you
Yes.
have a feeling on that. And then
Mhm.
concessions have always been a thing, right? Concessions have always been a way that we do that, but concessions were essentially used to help with the buy down. So, what do you think about like what's going on with that? I don't know if you want to give like a quick overview of a buy down, and then are we still seeing that? Is that still a
I
thing?
can. I don't focus too much on it, but let's talk about concessions as a whole. Very quick, make it short. So concessions aren't a bad thing, and some sellers actually think it is. What most agents, when it becomes seller concessions, they raise a purchase price, so you're not losing money
Right.
upfront. So let's say the purchase is let's say, let's do an even number of 200,000,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to raise it by 3,000 or
Mm-hmm.
2,000, just 1% of that to help buy down a rate, then you
Mm-hmm.
just increase that price to a 1. So
Right.
there's no money out of pocket. It's an indirect way to loop it into the purchase price. Now, the caveat here is the house needs to appraise for that value for that to
Yes.
become a solid, this can be a seller concession.
Right.
Another seller concession, it's not negative. Sometimes it's to help out where, for example, when I sold my house, I knew that there was a broken window, cracked
Mm-hmm.
right down,
Mm-hmm.
and to order a window would take months.
Right.
So the buyer, he's like, "No, what? Just give me a seller concession," which means that I gave them $300 at closing towards their closing costs. So they kept $300 in their bank account at the end of the transaction for them to go purchase that window. So it's able to loop around and make sure that they got that project done. And of course, we had an invoice, so we knew how much it was. Sometimes you don't need an invoice, but it does help out the transaction to go faster and smoother. So it's not always negative. A
Right.
lot it I don't want to put that on there. Now, some some buyers need it with closing costs. They
Right.
actually do. When they're first time home buyers, they need that little extra push. Again, that's not a bad thing. That's just helping out a new family, a new person coming into the area to keep assets into their bank account and be able to kind of roll in a new way of those closing costs. So it's a little bit of a strategy. Again, it's not always negative. It's not that they can't afford it. Let's just be strategic with the goals and the funds. So I don't want to go too much into it, but especially with the buy down rates, that's been huge to help
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
As
And
long as the math works, my math, how I like to math. If that seller concession is $1,000 to buy down that rate, but you don't see that return on investment for 3 years,
mhm.
4 years, why spend the money?
Right,
So
especially
make
now. I think the reason the buy down was more popular probably last year is we really didn't know when the rate was going to come down. We kept thinking it would. It really wasn't. And even now, we don't know anything for sure, but we do know a couple things, like without being political. Trump has talked about he's got someone that he's considering, and I don't know if they've announced the person yet exactly, to put in Jerome Powell's seat because he's out in May.
we get a new Fed daddy.
We get a new Fed
Woot,
daddy, and
woot.
you better bet your bottom dollar that Trump is going to want somebody. He already said. I already actually posted his commentary on it because I wanted people to see him say it, not me. He's saying it, but he's
Mhm.
saying we want somebody who is open to basically lowering a mortgage rate, not just an interest rate, because we know interest rate and mortgage rate are not the same. So that will help us out with that. So, with that information, that caveat, you're right. It makes more sense if they can get approved this way to just get in now and then do it just, do the refi 6 months or, down the road
Yeah.
instead of paying all of that at closing. Because again, that's more money at closing you're paying, or you're trying to ask the seller to help you with it, which they may or may not be open to, when you could just float it for a couple of months and then when it's time, then do, you know, the
Yeah,
refi.
and each situation is different with
Right,
that. So those concessions and the buy downs, that would be probably the second biggest thing in front of those inspections,
right,
because the seller concessions come down to the inspection. As we were discussing in the beginning of our live, was inspections and how people are waiving them back in 2020, and those homes that were waived are now coming back on the market for one reason or another. You said divorce, transferring, moving, downsizing, adding families. There's so many different reasons why individuals are selling and saying goodbye to that interest rate.
right.
Now that those homes that weren't inspected had some minor issues, have become bigger issues because some of them didn't clean up what needed to
Yeah,
be cleaned up.
right.
And
Yeah,
seller concessions, that's where that'll come into play. For like my example, I had a broken window. The
yeah,
window on order would take too long. So
right.
sometimes that really works out, or carpet, or you actually find something. Didn't we do, remind me, Holly, did we do a podcast regarding poor inspections and the
Oh gosh.
importance of, I feel like we should
Yes.
revisit this.
So
We
I
should
can link. I don't
revisit
know if I
and
can
do a whole
link
new
it.
video of how
Yeah.
important it
Yes.
is to be able to say it's okay to do an inspection and make that part of the negotiation.
I think that would be good too. So I have a question. Liv, why are houses so often listed above their assessed value? Well, thank you for asking that question. First of all, when you say assessed value, that's not always the actual value. So your taxes, your SEV, your state equalized value here in Michigan, is supposed to be about half of the value of the home. But typically, when we're selling homes, that's still even lower than half. I've not seen one that's it's worked out perfectly, which is a good thing for your taxes because your taxes are based off that. So you don't actually want that to be super super high because that's where your taxes are. The But you're absolutely right in asking why are houses listed above there. I'm going to say their actual value. So if I come and do a listing appointment and I go through the comps with the seller, I'll be able to tell them this is where we should list. Now, why do they list above that? That's been 2025 because sellers were having the come to Jesus moment of, okay, my house doesn't look like this house. They're still hoping to slide through that I need X, Y, and Z, but I'll just slide through and still get what my neighbors got because there's comps there that support everything else but the condition. So, to answer your question, I talked about a minute ago how sellers are a little more emotional right now. That's part of it. They don't really want to hear, I think, that their house isn't up to par with what the expectation is right now in this current market for buyers. And it's a tough conversation, but it's a conversation that a good agent needs to have with the seller because they do need to set up those expectations. A lot of agents are afraid to have that conversation. They're thinking they won't hire me, they'll hire someone else, and someone else might just be like, oh, yeah, I'll list it there. In the back of their mind, their whole plan is, but we'll do a bunch of price reductions. That's not good either. You do want to set someone up for success. If they choose not to listen to you, you need a plan in place that says, okay, we'll do it your way, okay, because you're the boss, you're the seller, but let's give it 10 days to 2 weeks tops. If we're not getting the showings or offers and all of our feedback is pretty much either we're not getting enough showings, which tells us something, or we're getting a lot of feedback that tells us that we're priced too high, or there's issues that, we needed to have brought to our attention, we do a price reduction. I like to just price houses right. I like to price them where I believe the market's at. And sometimes we don't get it right because the market shifts and buyers change with what their perspective is. A house is worth two things. I try to tell every seller this and every buyer what a buyer's willing to pay and what the appraisal says if we have an appraisal. The appraisal doesn't even matter if we can't get a buyer to agree and get on board with us.
And
It doesn't matter.
but as you know, when those open houses or when you have those scheduled showings, when they come in and they nitpick
Hmm.
the wear and tear, that's changing right now, the mindset here in this market, because you can
Hmm.
make it your own. So as we have those go through, they'll actually, and of course, me as a lender, I'm not privy.
We can still hear you though. We have the ability to do what? Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Um, oh, she'll be back. Um, she'll be back. Yes, Liv, there are a lot of factors, and you're looking to buy and sell. You're looking to buy, not sell. I don't know where you're at, Liv, but um, I'm licensed here in Michigan, also down in Florida. But if you're anywhere else in the country, you can still reach out, because one of the things I do that I'll quickly go into since we have a second. One of the things I do is I am a matchmaker. So I matchmake and I do referrals all the time. It doesn't matter what state you're in, I can refer you to the best agent. So I get to know you, we have a conversation, and then once I get to know you, I find the best agent in your area or agent group. I talk to them and make sure it's a good fit, and then I put you together. So if you are looking to buy, just reach out to me. Can't do DMs on here anymore, but you can. My information is
No.
everywhere. If you look me up, and my phone number is all over the place, and on other videos, it's also down in the commentary. But reach out to me, and I'll help you figure that out. Because I'm going to find an agent that works like me. And Cece has moved to a place now where she also is nationwide, so she can refer to an agent, or I'm sorry, a lender, if it's not here in Michigan or Florida, that would be someone that works like she does. And the two of us are just really, we're really education based, and we really want to always make sure our clients in the best situation. We're not transactional. We're in a transactional
No.
business. This is a transactional business, but we don't run our businesses with a transactional mindset. It's more relationship based, and that's what is
That
important.
human factor.
Yes. Because
Yeah,
we
so
want to
my
do business
team
with people long term, not just one time. I want to
yeah.
work with you every time you need help. I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, you got to call Holly or Cece because they're the best. You have to referrals. Like that's what the business is. Like to maintain a healthy business for over a decade.
A good
It's
team.
been, yeah, it's been doing business the right way.
Yeah.
So thanks for asking that question. And yeah, I'd love, I've done a lot of actual referrals this year. So it's a big part of our business that a lot of people aren't aware of. So thanks for asking that question. Um, but yeah, you were mentioning like with the inspections and being nitpicky and all the
Well, and it
things.
helps sellers guide that needle. And
Hmm.
hopefully the real estate agent that they're working with walk through the house and to avoid those nitpicking situations. Like you're
Right.
going to have to paint here, you're going to have to paint there. Because if you don't do those things up front, then those seller concessions will be asked. Hey, for this amount of money, because it's this big of a home, and some of the homes
Right.
that you sell, Holly, we're in the 700,000
Right.
price range, 800, $900,000. That paint job is not a $2,000 paint job.
No,
We're
that's up there.
it's pretty it's
The cost of painting has really gone up.
well,
There's
you're
not a lot of people
walking
doing it. That's the
no,
thing, to
you're
find
walking
someone to
into
do it.
these homes that have
Yeah,
cathedral ceilings in the
absolutely.
living room, and you have to bring in the scaffolding. There's so much to do. But my advice from what I've seen my clients go through is that listen to the right real estate agent. Make sure that they're educating you like this. Because if Holly walked through, which she did for my house, said, change this, change this, change this, it got my house off the market so much sooner. I didn't have to pay that extra mortgage payment. I didn't have to pay extra taxes or those additional monthly fees that come with all of it, the gas, the electric, the whole thing. So listening to your agent, listening to the feedback, because again, the seller buyer ratio, it's kind of evening out in this market right now.
Mhm.
January, February, March. This is a pivot point before
Yes.
the spring comes, before more homes get flooded, and it goes back to more of a buyer's market, or sorry, seller's market. So we're here, then the sellers get heavy again because there's more
Yes.
demand. So it's good to come in. It's good to be able to see and change that mindset for our buyers and our
Mhm.
sellers
It's
and take
education.
advantage of all of this.
Yeah, it's just a mindset. Everything I find in life, almost everything is mindset based. Like you can, people are walking into a new year, for example, new year, new you, right? Like it's like instead of saying 26, 2020. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Instead of saying that, my shift this year is 2026 is going to be my best year because I'm going to make it my best year. I don't know what's going to happen out there. I don't know what's going to happen politically, what's technically going to happen with the rate. We know where we think it's going. They're saying this is going to be the best real estate year in a very long time. They're saying a lot of things. Regardless of that, I'm still going to make this 2026 my best year ever because it's my mindset, It's that's what it is, and I'm going to make it that way because there's always people looking to buy and sell. I don't care what industry you guys are in that are watching. Just take this as a piece of advice. Whatever you do, there's always someone looking for that. Even if you feel like it's been a tight year or it's a challenge, you're in sales, it's hard to find the people that are looking for you. Hello, Abdullah from Pakistan. So glad we reached you. I love that. I love that. Like we got people around the world. We're international, baby. I love it. But whatever you do, just remember there's always somebody who needs you. It's your messaging, it's your content. Content is so big, and it's your heart and your passion and showing that you care and give. Cece and I, we don't get paid to do this, obviously, but it's something that we want to do to
It's a
educate and
value
help.
that we give.
Yes, it's a value to people who will never call us. There are people who are going to hear us and never call us, and that's okay.
That's
Maybe they
okay.
just are, they have a best friend that's a real estate agent, but at least if that's your best friend, you can tell
Talk
your
to them
best
about
friend.
this.
Yeah, you can say, hey, I heard of that. I need to know this, this, and this, and help them to be an even better agent then, right? Like help them to do better by what you've learned, or tell them to come talk to us and we'll make them better. But either way, either way, everybody wins. Like I think this year is going to be a winning year for real estate. I will say really quickly, there's a lot of potential for a lot of agents to leave. I don't know about lenders, but we've had a lot of part-time agents that jumped into the business because they thought it was really easy in 2021 and they just don't know how to do business.
It
They're
was.
realizing
The bad ones jumped in,
they jumped
cherry
right in.
picked, and it kind of ruined some names. Like we always get the bad apples, and then they jumped right
Yes. And
back
then they
out.
jumped back out because they realized, oh, this isn't like super easy. It's not that it's the hardest thing ever, but it's not easy either. There's a lot that goes into it. It's like anything, you really have to give it your all and you really have to have a heart for people. If you're more transactional, you have to be business minded and you have to have the transactions. Yes, you have to run a business. But if your heart is in the transaction and not focused on leading with helping people and really making sure that they're taken care of, the transactions are not going to be maintained. Your transactions will come when you focus on the people and helping them and making sure that you're serving people and they're getting what they need. Like that's I know how we've always done business. So for me 2026 is just that. It's the mindset of this is going to be my best year because of all the things that I've learned, everything I've pulled in, and now I'm just executing it, right? And so, you know, the fact that we do have maybe an emotional seller and maybe a buyer who doesn't understand some things yet, or maybe the buyer feels like, ooh, I hear that buyers, have the
Well, the
it
oh,
doesn't
you
like when I
froze
put my
again.
hand up. That's what it is. It's not like I gotta keep my hands. I gotta keep my hands still. It does not like when I put my hand up. Isn't that
Stop being
crazy?
Italian.
I gotta I gotta
Stop it.
hold my hands down.
Put it on
That's
the
what
put it on
YouTube
the
is not
table.
liking me with the hands up.
Mine just completely blacked out.
It's
Like
crazy
it just
town.
kicked me right out.
All right, I'm gonna put my hands behind my back. Let's see if I can do this and not.
Okay, challenge for you without moving your hands.
Don't use your
What
hands.
what one piece of advice would you give to a buyer that's going into this really cool environment of January, February, March buying homes? in the first quarter of the year?
Okay, that's a great question. So the best advice I have, if you're not working with me, let's say, and you're just somewhere else and you're going to work with someone else, the first thing you need to know is choose your team wisely, because this is not a market where you want somebody who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't understand the market and doesn't have great relationships. Relationships with other agents and with lenders are crucial. So, my number one thing is you need to choose your team wisely. You need to choose the best agent and the best lender, and make sure that those two people have the connections that you need. The agent needs to have connections to, let's say things come up on the inspection, they need to know how to negotiate. They need to understand who do they have, who do they know in the industry that they can call on if repairs need to be made. How do you not lose the deal? How do you not blow the deal with that relationship? So that's the first thing. So that's one
That's
thing.
the first thing. That is so much.
That is
See,
the first thing,
education.
is
You're
picking
not
your
putting your
team.
fingers up, so you're
I'm not.
doing pretty
My
good.
hands are, look at
I
me.
know, you're
I
doing
tied my
so
hands
good.
behind my back.
Because 'Cause I'd be like, 1, 2,
I
3,
trust
let's
me, in my
go.
mind, my hands are going crazy right now and they're making all the
But
points.
I
But
do love the aspect of you talking about team. All these points are amazing, and I know you can keep going. There's so much here, but let me pivot really quick. What
of
about a
course.
mistake? What's one mistake a buyer could make in moving into the market of first quarter, January, February, March? What do you see since you gave such great advice? And I know you can keep
Yeah.
going, but
I
keep
could
it.
keep going for
Do you want to
days,
keep
girl.
going to hear great advice from two professionals? Click the bell button, get notified when we come on, like us, follow the page, and be able to gain more education. So let's hear about the a
Yeah.
mistake that
Biggest
a buyer
mistake.
can make right now.
Well, I'm not going to make it easy and say hiring the wrong people. So I won't say that. That would be a huge mistake. What I'll say is not knowing your finances, not understanding the process, not making sure you have all your ducks in a row before you go out. You just don't want to grab a bunch of houses and say, I want to go look. The biggest mistake is it would be doing things out of order. Everything needs to be done in order. Talk to the lender, see where you're at financially, see if there's, a way to fix some things on the credit report. So basically doing things out of order and not setting yourself up properly financially, and understanding and getting that mindset on is a big huge mistake, because you're just going to be disappointed running around to open houses and not understanding like where you're at
Your
financially and what you can
purchase
even
power,
doing
that
things.
is
You're doing it
huge.
backwards. Don't put the cart before the horse. You have to do things properly. And the other big mistake is waiting until you absolutely have to buy now. Get yourself 3 months down the road. Like give yourself a little bit of breathing room so that you can prepare and make some
Oh,
changes
yeah.
financially
Take
so you can get
take
the
that
house you
deep breath
want.
and be able
Yeah.
to work through and enjoy the
Yes.
process. Because if you rush
Yes.
the process, you walk through home, you're like, "All right, I'll deal with this. Okay, I'll deal with that."
Mhm.
And it's not as fun.
No, it's not. And that's where we always want to educate and make it fun, because we go through everything and then we just go through the process. But if you haven't done that and you're just like a fire sale, like, I got to hurry up, I got to buy right now. Sometimes that happens and we can definitely do that. We,
Yeah.
you have put in, you've got me a pre approval while somebody was in between flights going to Hawaii, and we had to put the offer in. And
By
then
the
it had to
time
be,
he landed.
by the time he landed from that second flight, he had the pre-approval, and we were able, and then I was able to put
Yeah.
the offer in. So we can do it. It's just, it's always better for you as the buyer to make sure, okay, well, if I can get a better rate because my credit is higher, if I have a couple of months and I can change a couple things, I can pay a couple things off or just restructure them. And I know, Cece, you're really good at helping with that. Then
Mhm.
you can do that. And then your rate's going to be better. And you can also get educated by having the agent sit with you and go through the market so that you're prepped and ready and understand. The worst thing that could happen is you're on a showing and you want to put in an offer, and the agent goes, okay, I need that EMD, you need to do X, Y, and Z, blah blah. And you're like, EMD, what? Huh?
Yeah, and they're
Inspection, what?
shocked.
I don't
"Well,
have,
how
I
much
have
would
to write
this
you a check,
be?"
I have to put money down, wait, what? Like, what's an inspection, like, who do I call? Like,
Yeah.
that's
And
not the time.
does that earnest money deposit, what EMD is, that whatever the percentage is that is asked to be put down, the biggest question I get with that, and if they're not if it goes too quick, we can
Yeah.
only give so much knowledge because we gotta hurry up and get this offer
Mhm.
in. It
Right.
is about the biggest question is, does that come off the closing costs? And it does, but that's
Right.
how quick. If they're asking that question, it means we're working quick. I don't want those
Mhm.
questions during negotiation. I want
No, those
those
should already be
questions
answered.
and just take a step back and be able to be organized. So I think for me, one of the biggest mistakes of buyers is they're not getting organized. We need to get organized. We can get organized quick. It doesn't take forever. One, I've had my longest pre-approval just recently. It was we had to go actually for uh, he's a seasonal individual where
Oh.
he cuts
Mm.
grass, then he
Yep.
plows. So
Mhm.
it took a while, but that was the longest pre-approval I've ever had to do. That one took a little bit, but besides that, even self-employed borrowers, we can do that. Please give us time. If you own a business and have tax returns, we need a hot minute. I need a hot minute to get that
Yes.
organized. But having that purchase power of what you're saying, just to kind of wrap it up in like one terminology, that
Yes.
purchase power means everything. And it helps with negotiations,
Yes. It really does. And it gives you
the
room to breathe.
calmness.
Yeah. And, we talked about concessions and still needing to appraise. What we didn't say really quickly, if you do things right, and let's say you find out you need some extra money, let's say that your agent was a rock star and you already are walking in with equity. So let's say you're under contract for 600,000 and it appraises at 610. Well, now you can go back and rewrite it and say, okay, we're going to do 605 or 610 and take 10,000 in concessions. It's, essentially going to work out for the same for everybody, but you're going to be able to walk in and have 10,000 that you held to maybe do a couple of things because the house appraised and you're walking in with some equity. You can use that equity right away. And a lot of lenders hate that because it puts more work on them. And I know
Oh,
they
we
don't
have to
like
go
to
back
they don't
through
like to talk
the
about it because they don't want to do it,
yes,
but
but
it happens and it works
if we
sometimes. Sometimes
move
you can do it.
quick and you have the right team, I am so blessed. I have a great team. We have
Hmm.
team meetings every morning. We communicate. If I can get that appraisal back with that addendum, if if the buyer and the seller agree, I can get that back to the bank and have a 24 to 48 turnaround. Typically, it can be less than 24 hours. I always want to give the little asterisk of 48 just to be safe.
Sure.
But those 2 extra days, if we move quick and get it in, what are those 2 days? We're already in line and proceeding in a smooth transaction because you were organized. So,
Yes.
avoiding that big mistake of not being organized, when you're calm, you're better at negotiations. I mean, have
Absolutely.
you read the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of War? All of it is keeping centered, keeping
Yes.
focused, and keeping your eye on the prize type of conversation with your team.
And a lot of it too for a buyer is the agent and their lender are running that process. So how I present the information to my client is a lot of times how they're going to receive it, right? So, some of these agents that are newer or they just don't have the negotiating skill set. Sometimes they make a big deal out of little things. We do an inspection, your buyer shouldn't be coming back with a honeydew list. If they do that, honeydew list, like, oh, all these little nitpicky things. If
Nitpicking.
if they did that, it's because the agent did not sit down and talk to them about, hey, this is an as is home. This is not new construction. Even new construction would have a list, right?
Oh,
So this is
there's so
not
much with new construction.
yeah, there's not little nitpicky things. These are big things. These are things that we couldn't see with our eyes walking through the inspection, or our big ticket items, or health and safety, like if you're on an FHA situation or VA. Those are you again, it's education. It's prefacing that conversation. It's having that buyer meeting that I have before we go out and look at houses because I want to frame it up right. The other thing that an agent can do really wrong. Let's talk about what an agent can do that's really wrong. taking a client out to see houses before, first of all, you should never take them out before they're
Oh,
pre-approved. But when you do that, if you do that, it's a waste of
so
everyone's time because you don't even know if they can afford the house. And sellers are getting their house ready for you and you don't even know if they can afford it. Now you're setting up your buyer to fail. Now they're seeing a $500,000 house and they're going to be pre-approved for 400. Do you know how hard it is? Oh shoot, no hands. To pull to pull that out, to pull that thought out. Now they want a
it's
$500,000 house. And now you're showing them $400,000 houses, which is what they can afford. Oh, and it's like you showed them the holy grail. And now you're trying to give them a sippy cup.
yeah.
They don't like it. And so don't
Mm-mm.
do it. You know,
Yeah.
that's why if you're listening and you're a buyer, why do we have this process? Why do we go through these channels? Why do we tell you to get pre-approved first? Because it makes sense and because it's going to make your experience better. There is no need to walk you through Chanel when we know you can't buy Chanel,
I
right?
know.
We
And
don't
we
want to
want
window
Chanel.
shop.
I'm
Window
wearing
shopping
Coco
is not
Chanel
what we're
right
doing.
now.
Yeah, I want Chanel too. But listen, window shopping is fun at the mall. We don't do that with houses because we're inconveniencing people. We're asking sellers to clean and vacate and all the
Take their
things.
animals out of the
Get their animal.
house.
Oh, that's so hard. Babies that are supposed to be napping. We don't do that. It's just rude. It's just not kind and it's just bad manners, right? So we're not going to do that. So it's not that your agent doesn't want to show you a house, it's that they don't know if you can afford it yet. And so you got to put the work in, which is getting all the paperwork and all the things
Get
over to the
organized.
lender so they can get you that pre-approval.
Yeah.
That's really a very big piece of advice as well. That's why we don't just act like Zillow and you call, you hit that button and somebody answers and they run you to a house. That's that's really cheap real estate and you get what you pay for. That's cheap real estate. That's not somebody
Mhm.
who has the background that we do that is going to their time is worth something and they don't do that. I don't run and do that. I'm not a firefighter. I don't run and put out fires. I don't run and show houses, right? There's a process here. That's just
Now,
how it
I
goes.
do like this last comment. Ladies, we just want something clean, functional, and affordable. See, that comes back to the beginning of our conversation. What I brought up about buyers being educated about
Yes.
me asking that one simple question: what is your monthly goal?
Hmm.
That's affordable. That
Yes.
is the affordable conversation. You need your loan officer to
Hmm.
have a conversation with you. What's comfortable? Because I have I have clients who are pre-approved at 4,000 a month, 5,000 a month, sometimes 3,000 a month in a
Hmm.
housing payment. But all they really want is only spend 1,800, 1,900, and they don't want to overspend, even though their housing payment could be so much more. And this is the new mindset, affordability. So
Yes.
going to a smaller
Smart.
house is okay.
Hmm.
Now, I do like the comment clean. We have to have, okay, I
That
think
could
we're
be a
coming up with a
50-minute
whole,
conversation clean.
that is another whole video
Everybody's
of
idea of
how
clean,
sellers leave their house.
girl.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started.
And they don't know. Some of them you're like, you can leave a comment and they're like, oh, they said it, wasn't clean or whatever. And the sellers are truly bewildered because in their mind they did clean. So just keep in mind, not everybody's idea of clean is the same. And I understand you might have to push through. I had to tell my client the other day, I was like, listen, the first thing you're going to do is get this ductwork cleaned, right? The first thing you're going to do, because they could see like all the dust that's hanging off of all the vents and all those things. The first thing you're going to do is get your duct clean, right? That's so you're going to have it professionally cleaned. Try to remember that if it's just a cleaning, it's just cosmetic. You can pay someone to come in and clean it. You can clean it, get the duct work done right away. So that sometimes is tough because not everybody lives the same way. And there are people with young kids. There are people, you mean HVAC and no mold. Oh, yeah, no mold. Yeah, mold is, okay, let me just say really quickly with mold. If it's in the attic, That's super normal. It happens for reasons. That's not something to be super concerned about. That's an easy fix. Yes, it should be remediated, but that happens because up in attic areas, especially here in Michigan, like I can't use my hands. It gets warm, right? So everything like contracts and then it's freezing cold. It's like constantly doing that,
Expanding and
expanding and contracting. The
yeah,
concrete does it too. And
yeah.
that's why we have potholes. But also with a lot of roofs, if they don't do proper venting and if the fan from the bathroom isn't vented outside, it's pulling all that air with moisture in it, which is not what you want in a heat box.
Inspections are important
That's
to
why you'll
know
find
this.
out. So if it's that kind of mold, yes, we find that all the time and it gets remediated. If it's in the house, that's a medical situation. So I advise stay away from mold. I have known people that have gotten sick from mold. That's not something you want to mess with. And you have every right to want a no mold situation. HVAC, I'm assuming you just mean like HVAC that works, heating and cooling,
I would
working.
hope so.
Yeah, that's yeah, it doesn't sound
And you
live
have
live, it
to,
doesn't sound
for
like
a
you're asking for
loan,
too much. You're not reaching for
for
the stars there. I feel like you're a very reasonable human being, and you're absolutely right. You should be able to find it. What city are you in, by the way? Like, where are you looking? Because I'd love to hear if it's been like a challenge or whatever. I know you're looking to do it, so maybe you'll do that. But yeah, I think this is a great conversation, and I think we should continue to come on and really educate on the upcoming market. Here's what I will, my last piece of advice. Sellers, I mean, we'll do buyers first. Now, don't get all like, it's all about me because I'm telling you right now, even though that's what happened in 2025, 2026, there's another shift coming. And what we're hearing is, it is going to swing a little bit back in sellers' favor because the rate, if the mortgage rate does go down, gives buyers more buyer ability. What's that going to do? More sellers are going to sell because they can now afford to buy. And that's going to bring the competition back. So don't forget, competition is still a thing. And we are expecting to see a competitive market in the spring. So I hope it stays balanced and buyers still, have that opportunity. Everybody should just have my sister-in-law would say to her kids when they were little, we need to have a happy heart. And I love that my kids pick that up. They're like, Mom, we like the happy
the
heart.
happy
Everybody
heart.
needs to have a happy heart. Just have a happy heart, and work together because everybody has the same goal, right? You might be
Mhm.
on opposite sides of the game when you're, a seller or buyer, but everyone has the same goal. Let's get the transaction to closing.
Yeah. Oh, Kentucky. I love Kentucky.
Yeah. Who's
Yes,
the
let's
left
get one.
person? We don't know who left is because your left is. Am I left? I can't raise my
I think
hand.
it's me, but my mic,
Stay
how it's
gray.
set up,
Oh, because you have a mic. Yeah, I don't have a
yeah,
mic.
I don't wanna touch it too much
No, you're
to
fine now. I think it's because your sound was like going. You can still hear you, but it wasn't consistent the whole time. But it was
oh,
bad.
and the HVAC, talking about HVAC here in the office
Oh,
is
that's
kicking
probably.
kicking on. There's
Yeah.
more people in the office. We had a team meeting, so there's more people here, and they keep turning up the heat. So
No,
the
it's good right
H
now.
yeah, so the
Oh,
HVAC, well,
okay. So sorry.
it
I
just
was
shut off.
Yeah,
So,
you're good. So
okay.
Liv is in Denver, but you're looking in Kentucky. Oh my gosh, all
I
four of my
love
grandparents were
Kentucky.
born in Kentucky. I
Yeah,
love Kentucky.
so
Um,
pretty.
that may change depending on some academic things. Sure. Yeah, I would be happy to help you find the right agent in Kentucky. So just reach out to me. I will make it my mission to make sure you're happy with your agent. And
And I can help with that pre-approval in Kentucky.
yes. Yeah. And Cece, I'll be able to give you her contact info too, so you can reach out and she can find the right scenario for you there. Um, Colorado's gorgeous, I hear. It's one state I've never been to, but I hear
You
Colorado's
haven't?
beautiful. I
Oh,
haven't.
Boulder, Colorado. I
That's
went
where
to
she
the
see.
best Halloween party there, off the hook. It was the best. I flew there just for the Halloween party.
You flew
Amazing.
to Colorado for a Halloween party?
Yeah,
We'll have to
Denver.
talk about that
Yeah, Boulder, Colorado. It
offline.
was off the hook.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. I love that we get to make friends across the country. So I think this was a great conversation. Okay, one more question. What advice do you have for buying land approximately 10 to 30 acres in the country and building?
Oh,
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I
So what?
you want me to take that one or do you wanna take that
Yeah,
one?
go ahead.
So, you start. You talked about the real estate looking for acreage that size, and then I can discuss the lending side.
Yeah. So if you want to tell me where you're looking to, that will help. But I'll just go generic. If you're buying land, you want 10 to 30 acres. Here's the first thing, and building. The first, like, common sense thing, which I'm sure you probably already know, would be, what are you building? What are you going to do with the land? How is it zoned? Do you need to get anything approved? Do you need to submit something first? Northern Minnesota. Okay. See, I don't know anything about that, but this is still going to help because I'm not there. But you want to make sure that whatever your goals are, make sure, because I've listed a lot of land and had buyers looking at land, and some of them wanted a small farm, or they wanted a ranch, or they wanted to have a certain amount of chickens, and you can have a certain amount of farm animals. They wanted to put up a pole barn, which is typically, if you have acreage, typically going to be okay. But what exactly are you going to do to the land? You need to have a plan so your agent can research and go into the different counties and cities that you want to look at to find out what their rules are, because it can be different from city to city and what they're going to allow you to do. Things like setbacks probably don't apply as much because you're bigger land, right? It's not like so tight with that. But, and then, does the land have water on it? Is there part of it that you can't use because it may be wetland? So you want to get a survey. If you don't have a survey, and the seller doesn't have a survey, you don't have to pay for a survey, but you want to kind of get some of those questions answered to make sure the piece of land isn't going to hinder you from doing what you want to do. What do you want to do? And then, of course, like, all the taxes and the lays of the land and what you can do. And I know Cece's got something too.
Well, there's quite a few things I see with my clients because with the company I work for, we can do a one-time closing, brand new build on acreage like this. But what Holly was discussing, and it's very important that you have a good realtor in the area. What lands could cause an issue? Backing up to state property could be an issue. For us, the big thing is budget. How much is this going to cost you? Are you on a dirt road that has a man-made pond? That's great. That's what everybody wants. But here's the thing: how do you tie into the water source? You have to build that well. What about septic field? What does that look like? So you're going to really need to know what budget you're going to start with. Then take that budget, go to I would say, very local real estate agent. If you don't know one, again, we can help reach out and find a good one for you because we have such a huge network with both of our companies where taking that budget and working backwards is going to be huge. You start with your budget, you can afford 500,000, 400,000, 300,000, whatever it may be, and start working backwards. Okay, how much is it going to cost to dig a well? How much is it going to cost to bring in the utilities? How much is it going to cost to dig that initial property? Not even dig, but I would even say grade the property to be able to build, clearing whatever brush, trees, bushes away. So you need that budget. You need to be organized. Make sure you get your finances straight and then start asking those questions so you can do the math backwards. You
Mm.
can afford this. Now go backwards. Getting a loan on property, as long as you're organized, you're financially able to, can get pre-approved. It's it's a lot easier than people think, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of organization that goes into purchasing acreage, 10 to 30, 50, 100 acres, and building ground up, especially if it's extremely rural. So I would start with your budget, eh, set that, start asking questions, and then go backwards because there's so much that goes into a new build house, ground up, not in the subdivision.
What I keep hearing: count the cost, count the cost, count your costs. And as you were talking about all the things, you got to have an agent who understands inspections are different with land. And there's something called land perking to make sure that the land is even viable for building, and the septic and all the things. um so it's a lot of really knowing how to do the due diligence. Due diligence is crucial when you're going to be purchasing land and buying, because there's a lot of different factors. So make sure you're working with an agent who knows their stuff. Again, same thing I told to live the dream. I was calling her live. I just realized it's live the dream. I love that. If you don't have an agent, reach out to me. I will find one for you. I will get a great agent for you in northern Minnesota.
Or if you have
And
one, use our talking points and talk to them about this.
yeah, rewatch this. It'll be posted. So this is live right now, but it will be posted later on. And you can always come back and rewatch. I recommend you do that and scroll through. We've got this is our 53rd episode actually. Um, so which is kind of cool. And we have we've talked about so many different things, and we love to be able to help and always ask questions. And you can just ask a question on the episode. And the cool thing is I'll get notified and be able to answer it, and we can connect that way since you can't do DMs here on YouTube. But you
Yeah.
can definitely hit that the bell so that you get notified every time we go live or anytime there's new content that I'm posting. And of course, subscribe to the channel so that you are up to date with everything, because that's what we're here for. And Liv, it sounds, I'm going to keep calling you Liv, even though it's Live the Dream. I'm going to call you Liv. But yes, so you had an agent that warned you about a property. So that's how you know you have a good agent. An agent who is not focusing transactionally. I'm at my head and I'm putting my hands on the table. Transactionally, right? The agent's not so worried about getting you closed as she is about making sure it's the right situation for you. Oh, that is your name too. Okay, perfect. So that's what you want. You want somebody who actually cares about you. Yes, it's a transaction and it's how she feeds her family, but her first priority needs to be to what's best for you. So that's awesome. I love to hear that, because I want to hear that, because we seem to get all this attention for the bad real estate agents or the bad lenders. It's like anything. There's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad teachers. There's always going to be something. But for us, I feel like we're always under fire so much. We work so hard and a lot of things are misunderstood. And so it's really great to hear that there's agents out there who are doing the right thing. And I hope that this year, when they're talking about the mass exodus, I started talking about, and then somehow I think YouTube kicked me out. But a lot of agents are leaving because they can't feed themselves. And the reason they can't feed themselves is because they didn't get themselves educated. They didn't treat it like a business, and they didn't treat people like the priority. That's my 2 cents on that. That's my thought. Or they just weren't, they were part timers. This is not part time. This ain't
Yeah.
part time. Do you ever see that on? I can't do it with my hands, but on TikTok, when she's like, it's all the time for realtors, and her hands are going all the way around. It's like this is this time, this is this time, and then real estate agents, and her hand just keeps circling the clock because it's all the time. If you didn't see
No,
it,
you have to send it to me.
I hope I can find it again. It was a
Okay.
trend for a while. I don't know if it's still out there, but it was. I wanted to do with that reel, and I never did it, and I haven't seen it again. But it's true. We are constantly looking for how can we do better for ourselves, because if we can be better, we can do better for our clients. You're never going to be perfect in this business, and you're never going to know everything. So you want somebody who's dedicated to educating themselves, to coaching, to getting coached. You spend money to make money in this, not someone just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. You're actively looking to get better, and that's really what will set a really good agent, really good lender apart from the people who are just waiting for people to hand them stuff, which isn't going to happen. I mean, not usually anyway.
Yes. Well, on that
Okay.
note,
I think we did it today. We thank you
yes.
guys. I want to say thanks for everybody who was asking questions, because that's what we've been working towards as well. We want to we always come with a conversation, but we do want to have some interaction. We want to know what the thoughts are and the questions are, so we can even really tailor this to what the needs are. So thank you for the questions. And thanks for joining. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Would love to see you on here more often. So we usually did 10 a.m. Eastern. I mean, I don't know. I'm really liking the 11. We did 11 a long time ago. I'm just remembering we started off doing this at 11. We moved to 10. I feel like 11 might be a good time. So it'll be between 10 and 11, though, that we'll be live. Tuesdays, Eastern time. We may keep it at 11. So watch for us. But again, if you tap the bell, you'll know when we're live. Please show up with questions, comments, anything that can add to the discussion. We appreciate that. We love community. And everybody, just thank you, Cece, again for being on here, because you're like invaluable with everything, all the wealth of info you have.
Well, thank you for having me. And I
Of
can't believe it's
course.
our 53rd episode.
53. I feel like we need like to, I mean, it's like it's our birthday
Ooh, the
then, because 50,
poppers. I need
53
I
means
want
we've
a hat.
over a
I want
year.
poppers.
It's like our birthday. I feel like we need like, yeah, we need to go celebrate.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friend, everybody have a blessed week. We will see you next time. Until then, go out there and make 2026 your best year ever.
Bye.
Bye.